When Euro 2016 kicked off in France, fans arrived to experience floods, strikes, terror threats, hooligans. That was then, this is now. Iceland's fans showing how it's done in what's been a tournament of giants and giant killers, from that tiny nation of 300,000 upsetting England to the prospect of another epic encounter between hosts France and world champions Germany. It's been one to remember. We're going to ask about sports and also perhaps about the significance of the sporting spectacle in these times of Brexit and uncertainty. Is an event that's called the Euro more than just a game. Today in the France 24 debate, all to play for at this tournament. And with us, a Frenchman, Nicolas Juchat, journalist at SoFoot. Welcome
Hello.
to the show. We have a German, Lutz Pfannenstiel, former professional keeper, now a scout for Bundesliga side Hoffenheim. And here on behalf of German television channel ZDF, thank you for being with us. We also have a Welshman, Robbie Knock, journalist at Eurosport.
Hi there.
How are you, sir?
Very well, thank you.
All right. And an Icelander from The Hague, Magnus Anyar Magnuson, manager of soccer agents Total Football, and co-founded, by the way, with the legendary Arnor Gudjonsson, whose clients include his son, Ior Gudjonsson. Thank you for being with us here in the France 24 debate.
My pleasure.
The France 24 debate, where you can join the conversation on Facebook and Twitter, the hashtag F24debate. Robbie, if the Welsh beat Portugal, will you be able to top this?
Gegn Danny Rose og Jói sem setur hún á Gylfa. Gylfi í fyrsta, Jóntaði og Kolbeinn. Kolbeinn með skot! Já! Við erum komnir yfir! Við erum komnir yfir! Hér í Nýs! Kolbeinn Sigþórsson með fyrsta markið sitt á EM! En ekki það síðasta! Ísland!
Benedictson.
I mean, it's formidable. This is really good for football because everybody picked up on that and everybody's going, this guy, how does he do it? What's he saying, in fact, you know?
Well, he's calling the win over England in that.
Exactly. You know, I'm not going to mention too much about that. But, of course, this is just wonderful when we actually see the, you know, the enthusiasm and the joy for Iceland. That was, I mean, we just love that. That's what football's all about these days.
Can we hear the same thing from Welsh channel S4C? Should they win over Portugal on Wednesday evening?
Guaranteed. I mean, you know, there's no doubt about it. And I think that the fervour and what's been triggered back home is something just extraordinary. Now, they're calling for a national holiday on Thursday, of course, you know, following victory, if it happens. You know, I think even if it doesn't happen, I think there's going to be a lot of people who are going to be, they won't be able to get out of bed too early, I think.
Magnus, let me ask you, because we saw when those images were from Reykjavik after the team went home that we saw at the outset. But Sunday night, after their 5-2 loss to France, when the Iceland players come to do that celebration with the fans, the French fans joined in as well. This Iceland team, do you realize just how much it has seduced this country?
Well, obviously, you know, you just come to terms with it, but they have been, you know, they have been brilliant on the pitch, and the fans have been brilliant off the pitch. And I think, you know, for us, just like Wales, or more for Iceland, they have been incredible and very positive. I think, and especially, you know, going into the tournament with all this negative talk about the terrorists, and then in the beginning with the fans from other countries, but it's been fantastic.
What does it mean? 10% of your country's population coming to France for the tournament?
Yeah, well, the airliners are probably have a huge profit now.
The airlines have a huge profit. I read stories about people having to beg their bosses to have more time off work. They weren't expecting to go all the way to the quarterfinals.
Yeah, and people dealing to get you know, overdraft on their accounts. But overall, you know, people think it as a one-time event. I hope it won't, but you know, and we didn't expect this to happen. So everybody wanted to join in, and well, 10% at least joined in, and well, it's been fantastic.
weren't expecting it to happen. Were you expecting it to happen?
Well, we just in the beginning, we were very grateful to get qualified for the Euros because the group was quite strong. When we had qualified, everybody wanted to go. We didn't expect to qualify from the group. We did. Then, obviously for Iceland to play against England, where you have the Premier League is very popular. Every kid has a favorite team. Probably he will answer you first that he follows Chelsea or Liverpool or Man United instead of Icelandic club. So to beat them as well, that's incredible.
Loopsfinancially, when the tournament begins, remember this tournament going from 16 to 24 teams. People thought, the first round's going to be boring. It's going to be lopsided. Did you expect it to go this way?
I think it was pretty boring in the start, to be honest. But actually, the smaller teams like Northern Ireland, like Iceland, like Wales, they really brought that sparkle back into the games. Unfortunately, with that big number and with the third place to qualify, I think the quality went a little bit down because many teams just played very destructive football. But as I said, the way Iceland played was just wonderful. I mean, they got that, especially the game against France. I think there was only French people supported France, but the rest of the world was really supporting Iceland on that day. And I think it just shows that Iceland is a fantastic sports country. And if you beat Holland twice, you beat Turkey, then you definitely deserve to be at this tournament.
Nicolas Juchat, do you agree that having these smaller nations made sometimes for boring encounters?
In fact, it's I think Iceland and Wales, they are quite good argument for the 24 teams tournament because without that new way, without 24 teams, I don't think small teams like this could pass the first round because after 2 games, 2 wrong results, you could be with lots of pressure for the third games. And the new system gave quite much interest for the last games in each group. There was no game without any interest during that tournament. And I think it's the main reason, the main interest to have the 24 teams. Without that new way, we don't get Iceland.
Even though, as Lutz said, sometimes these third-place qualifiers are... people question whether or not it was justified having them go through to the knockout phase.
But at the same time, to have that new teams, we discover teams because of that new system. I think it's something refresh the tournament. We don't see the same team all the time. We don't see the same faces. Iceland, there are some players already play in Premier League. It's not a so big surprise if you follow football every week. Sigurdsson from Nantes didn't make a good season.
French side Nantes, yeah.
From Nantes, but it's a good player. It's obvious. He played before for Ajax Amsterdam. So maybe for the great public, it was a big surprise. But if you follow football every week, you are not so surprised to see Iceland in the second round, but you are surprised to see them beating England. That is the main surprise.
All right, we talk about winning over the locals. The Welsh, true to their Celtic roots, and in a nod to the Welsh language's common roots with the Breton spoken in northwestern France, establishing their headquarters during the tournament in the North Brittany coast resort of Dinard. And, gotta say, winning over the natives.
They haven't gotten big-headed. That's what makes them special. And they really play for each other. They're very approachable.
Now, on that point, Real Madrid calls its top-paid superstars Galacticos. Wednesday's semi-final will feature 2, Cristiano Ronaldo for Portugal and Gareth Bale for Wales.
It's not about 2 players. We know that. Everybody knows that, really. It's about 2 nations in a semi-final, 11 men against 11 men. It's going to be a very difficult game. We know that. They're in the semi-final for a reason. They've played well enough. And, we're just going to try and enjoy the occasion again like we always have. And we'll carry on in the same way.
He sounds pretty sure of himself there, Robbie.
Well, Gareth Bale, he's so grounded, isn't he? I mean, he's a wonderful character. He's not just a wonderful footballer, but he's a wonderful character. And I think that what he rubs off on his teammates is something just unique because there's no star in that team, really. We know what he's capable of doing. We see it week in, week out in La Liga with Real Madrid. But when it comes to representing a small nation like Wales, I think that everybody comes together. They just release the shackles, I think, of playing their domestic football and the expectations in the different leagues and just come together as a nation. The logo Together Stronger really, really underlines exactly what this Welsh side are all about. So, yeah, very, very grounded and very true to himself.
No star outside of Bale, but the absence of the suspended Aaron Ramsey, the Arsenal player, is that going to hurt?
Well, the thing is that everybody's talking about Rambo being sidelined, but also Ben Davies, very important defender that we've got from who plays for Tottenham. Two key players who have played amazing football, but we've got other players who are just they're dying to get themselves that chance to step up and play alongside their friends, their teammates, and a team, in this semi-final. So I think James Collins will just come in. Johnny Edwards. We got two players. I mean, Johnny Edwards runs around like a spring chicken. I mean, he won't stop chasing in the midfield, so he'll come in and work with Ledley. And I think that James Collins, plenty of experience. He's got that big ginger beard like Aaron from Iceland, of course, which might scare off the Portuguese, but we're okay. We're not too fazed by that.
Lutz Pfannenstiel, what's your prediction on that one?
Well, again, with Wales, everybody says now it's a huge surprise. It's a small country. But it's not that somebody came there and said, let's play a bit of football. You have players who are playing for Real Madrid, the other one's playing in the English Premier League. So that's a quality team without any doubt. I personally think, and I really hope that Wales is going through, simply because Portugal haven't won one game in 5 after 90 minutes. They should normally be back home on the couch, eating some crisps, having some beer. They shouldn't be here anymore. That's my opinion, and that's why I think Wales really would deserve the next step into the final.
They shouldn't. Wait a minute.
I checked him a $5 just beforehand, François. Just
okay.
so you know,
I was going to say they shouldn't be here. You say, but we all remember 1992. Denmark wasn't supposed to be at the tournament because
they won games. That's a difference. I think Portugal did not beat Austria, did not beat Iceland, did not beat Hungary. Then scoring in the 117th minute. Well, that's why. No, I mean I talk about Portugal. Wales, in my opinion, they should make it, of course.
Magnusson, you agree?
Well, I obviously I will support Wales, and
Robbie's nodding vigorously.
Yes. Good boy.
But Portugal hasn't beaten anyone in 90 minutes, so and Wales have, so Wales will win.
And the fact that Portugal hasn't beaten anyone in 90 minutes, does that lend credence to what was said a moment ago by Lutz? The fact that 24 teams means you can get sides that don't win in 90 minutes going all the way to the semifinals.
Yeah, well, Iceland did it, so Portugal hasn't. In my ways, that obviously that's the maybe the flaw of this format. But in the end of the day, we also you have a penalty shootout, and they have been quite successful in winning those shootouts, and can't blame them. That's not their fault. That's how the system is, but. There's something about Wales, and even though Ramsey is suspended, I think they have a momentum.
Nicolas Juchat, your prediction for Wednesday's game?
I hope Wales will go through. But,
you hope Wales will go through?
Yeah, but I think it's Portugal will go through because they have a kind of talent for the tough games, because you can see they didn't win.
Nicolas, this is not good news, because what you're saying, because Portugal has 3 players born in France. There's a huge expatriate community in this country.
We are used with it, because each time we have a game.
And yet the French are not supporting the Portuguese?
No, because all the time when we play against Portugal, it's never so nice, because we can see the strong support from Portuguese, and all the time we will talk about the game quite long before. We will talk a lot about the game during the game, because if they win at the halftime, they will go in the street and they will start to celebrate. And after the game, it will be even longer if France beat Portugal.
So wait, is this in the interest of getting a good night's sleep that you're saying?
I prefer to play Wales. It will be much easier to...
it'll be easier for France.
No, it will be easier to play with Wales and to live in France if the game is between France and Wales. Because with Portuguese, it's more serious than politic when you touch to the national team. Ronaldo should be the golden ball, like Figo before was stronger than Zidane. And if France beat Portugal, they will find a reason to tell you that Portugal deserved but lost. Usually it's very complicated if you have some friends Portuguese friends during 1 or 2 months after, the relationship will be much more difficult.
Robbie, you're a long-time resident here. Have you witnessed this sort of symbiotic relationship between the French and the Portuguese?
Well, I mean, we know that every time that the Portuguese team turns up in the Champions League and takes on PSG over the years, of recent years, you know, since they became a great team, we've seen a lot of Portuguese fans, you know, spill into the streets, and you know, you can see the flags go up. So yeah, Paris has a very large population. I think it's got the biggest population of Portuguese outside of Portugal in a city. So I mean, yeah, it will be quite complicated for them, you know, if Portugal go on, if they can get past us, of course, and you know, get past the French if the French qualify for the final.
Before we go to the break, we talked about Gareth Bale. Let's talk about Cristiano Ronaldo, because we've seen the best and the worst of him at this tournament, complaining to the referees when things didn't go his way, and then scoring those brilliant goals.
I mean, without any doubt, he's one of the best players at the moment anyway, maybe of all times. I just personally don't like his antics about everything needs to be surrounding about him. Maybe he's better looking than you and I.
He's a Galactico in the wrong sense of the term?
No, not really. I think it's his kind of show to make him feel good, to really get the best out of him. But if you compare the two characters, Gareth Bale and Ronaldo, Gareth Bale is always down to earth, he's modest, he rather celebrates with his daughter, while Ronaldo is more in front of the mirror. So that's a little bit of a difference. But again, he's a great player, one of the best in the world. And I think he has the quality to kill actually Wales by himself if he has the right day, if the tactics of the coach are not too defensive again.
All right, when we come back in the France 24 debate, we will be talking about the matchup between France and Germany. There's a history there. Stay with us.